today on the Scholar Warrior podcast, I'm with Sam Moor. Sam Moor is the senior instructor for Sussex Tai Chi. He started martial arts as a teenager and then he moved into Tai Chi at the age of 20. And for the last 19 or 20 years, he's focused on the Chen style of Tai Chi and is trained also in Qigong and Yichuan. He's trained in China, in Beijing, in Chenzhou. Chenjiago, yeah. And I got another one, Chenju.
Oh, Jungzhou.
Zhengzhou. Okay, Zhengzhou as well. So Chenjiago is the Chen village where Chen style Tai Chi comes from. So he's trained there, and his mentors are Chen Xiaowang, Chen Bing, and Carol and Eva Koskuba. Yeah. Sam also has a BA in philosophy and history and is a widely published writer known for his down-to-earth approach to Tai Chi. So welcome, Sam, to the Scholar Warrior podcast.
Thanks for having me, Robin.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, very excited to meet you. So let's start with a little bit of your background. And you started in martial arts as a kid or as a teenager. So why did you start in martial arts? And what martial arts did you start with?
Before I started training in martial arts, I was really into playing music.
Yeah.
And thought the rock and roll lifestyle was a good thing.
Yeah.
And I got to be about 16 or maybe 17, and I got really bad bronchitis.
Okay.
I went to the doctors. The doctor said, you basically got to stop drinking and smoking so much.
Okay.
And at that point, I suddenly thought, I'm only young. I've already kind of quite badly damaged my health. I thought I've got to do something. I've got to do something to get fit and healthy. And it just so happened that week I saw an advert in the local paper for a new kickboxing class.
Okay.
Anyway, so I went along and it almost killed me. But for the next 3 years, I got really into that. Got really into the fitness training and I really enjoyed it. It was excellent.
Okay. So what age was that you'd already damaged your health?
Oh, when I was about 16.
16?
Started early, yeah.
Wow. So that's a pretty early wake-up call. Normally that happens a little bit later. And so the doctor actually told you kind of have to sort out your health?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then kickboxing and then somehow into Tai Chi. How did that come about?
Well, the kickboxing stuff was really good. I really enjoyed like the fitness training and the sparring and all that kind of stuff. After a few years, I started to notice that even though my fitness was better, I could run for a long way without getting out of breath and spar for a long time, but my body was still not feeling great. So, for example, when I went to sleep at night, like my hip would really hurt, like bad back and stuff like that. So I was already starting to think there must be more to this, more to training my body than just kind of like smashing it to pieces with like running, sparring, weight training, and all this kind of stuff. And then while I was at university, I met my first Tai Chi teacher who was running a class at my local gym. Tried one class, first movement. I was like, this is it. This is brilliant. Tai Chi's brilliant.
Okay.
This is going to teach me what I want to know about my body and how to relax and stuff.
So, from the first class, you just did the first movement. Something made a connection.
Oh yeah, completely. It was because it was so slow.
Yeah.
And it's like I think we did like the commencement movement going up. I was like, wow, I can feel my body because there's time because it's so slow, and I can feel that my body's really tense. I was thinking, if I can get my body to relax, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
So that I kind of just liked it straight away.
Okay, that's interesting. Huh? That happens so early. So the first class, you were feeling that if you could relax, that would be a good thing. So
well, I guess it was just that I hadn't really paid attention to feeling my body.
Yeah. Probably
before. So it was only when I started moving slowly, I was thinking, when my teacher does it, it looks really easy. It looks smooth and fluid. When I do it, it feels clunky and everywhere feels stiff, and I can feel like these big muscles. I used to be much more buff, right? now I'm skinny, but everything works better. And I can feel that these big muscles and the stiffness wasn't in any way good for my body particularly.
Right.
That's how I felt at that time.
Yeah. Many people feel that and then they kind of feel like intimidated by the amount of work that there would be to like let go of that tension, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think psychologically it's quite a big step to think that I'm going to, I spent time building up all of that stuff, that tension and that kind of like brute strength kind of thing. I was ready for a change, so it was okay.
Yeah. Okay, so somehow you ended up in China.
Oh right, yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I'd already been practicing Tai Chi doing Yang style Tai Chi for about maybe 5 years or so, 5 or 6 years.
So Yang style Tai Chi. Can you what does that look like to someone that hasn't seen it before?
Hasn't seen it before. Well, I guess so. You got these nice, smooth, rounded movements. Nice big open movements. It's all nice and slow, even pace. It's lovely when it's done well. It looks really nice. Yeah.
And that was what got you to China, practicing that style. You thought, I'm gonna go and
No, not yet. One of my fellow students goes, "Oh, there's I'd heard about Chen style Tai Chi. I'd never seen it. I'd bought some books and read some books. He goes, "There's a Chen style Tai Chi master. He's coming to Reading, right? Chen Jiawang. I already had a book with Chen Jiawang in it, and I was like, Chen Jiawang looks awesome.
Yeah.
So we went to this workshop, a series of workshops actually over a few days, and we did standing, silk reeling, basic movements, basic exercises. And at the first seminar, Chen Jiawang did a demonstration, right? And he starts off, very slowly, very smoothly. He's super focused. You can almost feel how tangible his calmness and his focus is, right? And it's amazing. The way he moves is the best I've ever seen anybody move. So I'm like, this is awesome. And then he suddenly like jumps up in the air, bang, on the floor, and he's like ripping out all these really cool Fajing movements. And I'm like, where do I sign up? This is what I want to do. I didn't realise that Tai Chi had more than just the slow movements.
Right.
But I always wondered why. I mean, I already did some Xingyi and a little bit of Bagua, which has like Fajing and variation in speed of movement and stuff. And I was like, this is what I want to do.
So yeah, that's quite lucky in that respect. So because in terms of the style of training that you do now, which is Chen style, the head of the family, the head honcho comes to England and you train with him, and that's your first experience of Chen style Tai Chi, and seeing that. So and he wouldn't have been young at that point. So
he must have been. I think he's in his mid-70s now, so we're talking about maybe 15 or 16 years ago. So
right.
He's like early 60s, late 50s, something
late,
like that.
Late 50s. And he's moving the best that you've seen anybody move. Anybody, yeah. But whether they're an athlete or
anyone. Yeah. It was awesome.
So that's pretty inspiring. And then you thought, I'm off to China.
Yeah.
Get me some of that.
So I started training with Chen Jiawang's disciple, Karel Koskuba, and his wife. And so, they were hosting him in England, and like they did it, every year. He doesn't travel anymore, unfortunately, Chen Jiawang. I started training with them, and it just opened loads of doors. I'm like, I want to go to China. They're like, we can give you contacts in China, people to go and train with, people who look after you, and it opened loads of doors. Meeting them was awesome.
Right. So then you went to China. Then you got there. So that brings us on to looking more into your art, which is Chen style Tai Chi. So where does it come from, and what are its characteristics? How is it the same or different to other Tai Chi that people may have seen?
Well, there are 5 main styles of Tai Chi, right? And they share more similarities than they do differences. So that's the first thing. They're more similar than they are different. But there are some differences as well. Chen style Tai Chi is usually said to be the mother source of all the styles of Tai Chi. So everything comes from Chen style Tai Chi. It's just been either changed or altered, for lots of different reasons. So that's one thing. The thing I like about Chen style is that, to me, it seems like a very complete kind of system. Okay. When you're a beginner, you still first concentrate on moving slowly, carefully, developing, like an integrated body structure, learning how to relax, learning how to breathe, all these basic things that I would think are common in all styles of Tai Chi. But what Chen style does also is that you want to be able to not only move slowly, you also want to be able to move quickly. So Chen style develops that as well. This Fajing, release of force, which for self-defense and stuff is also important. Yeah. The other thing about Chen style, which makes it unique or kind of something that's special characteristic, is it emphasises this spiraling movement through the body, or Chen Sujin or Chansi energy. So the whole body, when it's moving together, all the joints and all the soft tissues are spiraling and moving together, and that creates a very kind of strong body structure, which is useful for everything.
Right. So one of the things that people, if they haven't seen much Tai Chi, may be surprised about is that it's also fast. And that's most evident in Chen style.
Yes.
And explosive.
Yeah.
So typically people might find that a bit surprising. And then this silk reeling thing is another thing which looks a bit different to, say, the other styles.
Yeah, that's right. It's emphasised quite a lot in Chen style. But
and that's going to look like, for someone that doesn't know what that is, it's going to look like more twisting and coiling.
Yeah, coiling, twisting, twining, like spiralling, and all the movements in Tai Chi are what we call, whole body movements. We want the whole body to move together, and this twisting and coiling and spiraling movement through the whole body is not only makes all the joints really mobile and strong, but it connects your whole body together, like lots of bits of fabric all stitched together to make like a whole strong but kind of pliable sheet. Yeah.
So this is so this could be opposed to feeling like your body is made up of a leg and a foot, and it feels like it's kind of unified when you do a movement.
Yeah.
Which feels nice.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So then, if you start to investigate Chen style, one of the first things you start hearing is Lao Jia and Xinjia.
Xinjia, yeah.
Yeah. So what are Lao Jia and Xinjia, and why does that matter to someone that's going to learn it?
Well, basically, Lao Jia means old frame, and it's kind of like the older style of form, or it's an older form. And Xinjia means new frame.
Right.
And Xinjia was popularised by Chen Fa Ke, who's Chen Jiawang's grandfather. And he wanted to make he adjusted the form, the original Lao Jia form, to make the spiraling movements in the body more obvious.
Right.
Because people find it difficult, yeah. Tai Chi is unfortunately not very easy to learn.
Yeah.
So he made the body movements, this whole body movement, a little bit more obvious to make it easier for people to learn. And then this was called new frame. And people argue about what is new frame and what's old frame, and ultimately it doesn't really matter. They're more similar than they are different. Just new frame emphasises this coiling and spiraling and has a little bit more Fajing movement.
Right. So these things that were kind of under the surface and maybe a little bit difficult to articulate,
yeah,
they've now been made a little bit more obvious for people, so they can get more of a grasp on it.
Yeah. But ultimately, when they're easy to grasp and they're obvious, but as you get better, you want them to be kind of a little bit more under the surface anyway.
So you're going to learn the Xinjia, and then you're going to go back to...
Well, yeah, probably.
Okay. So what do you do?
In my classes, I mainly teach Lao Jia.
Okay.
Because it's easier.
Oh, okay.
In a way, it's an easier place to get a grasp of the basic movements. When I practice myself, if I'm practicing form, I just practice Xinjia.
Oh, okay.
I really like it.
So you've gone the opposite way around, kind of thing. So it was created to make it a bit more easier to learn, but you end up teaching the old frame.
Hey, well, it's Tai Chi's complicated business. It's confusing because Xinjia is actually, in a way, it's more difficult. It's for when you've achieved the basics. Let's say you've achieved the basics, then that would be a good time to start doing Xinjia.
Right.
But to learn the basics is already quite difficult. So you just want something simple that's not too complicated to begin with.
Right. Okay. Then let's let's go to your teachers, who, if people do any investigation, some of the people they're going to find Chen Xiaowang, who we mentioned before, and they're going to find your teacher now is Chen Bing.
Chen Bing, yeah.
Chen Bing, yeah. So they're well known in Tai Chi circles.
Yeah, Chen Xiaowang is very, very famous. Now he's very famous.
Now he's very famous. Why are they famous? What are they like to train with? And what's it like training with Chen? So Chen Bing is Chen Xiaowang's son?
Well, he's actually his nephew.
His nephew, right. Okay. But there's some fantastic videos of Chen Bing around, isn't there? I mean, he looks very, very dynamic.
Yeah, he's excellent. Training with him is brilliant because he's quite traditional. So you have to work hard. Yeah, he wants you to do lots of basic exercises and stuff. But he's also got a slightly more dynamic approach, which keeps things really interesting. He keeps you on your toes, and he pays a lot of attention to fan song gong, like loosening exercises. So one of the things you want in Tai Chi is that the whole body, all the joints are free to move. Especially the hips and the spine. You want to be able to move, and articulate well, in a coherent manner. And he kind of developed these fan song gong exercises that are kind of like stretch and strengthen and loosen the body. So he spends a lot of time doing them, and they're brilliant.
And so when I was doing a little bit of research, I'm looking at when you're training with Chen Bing, you often mention that it's physically and mentally demanding. So what does that mean?
Well, physically demanding.
Is it torturous? Is it intellectually challenging?
It can be torturous. It depends. It kind of depends on your level, on what you want to achieve. So if I have a private lesson with Chen Bing, for example, we're talking about keeping in a low stance, so the legs are being tortured, and the amount you have to focus your mind to pay attention to your body, to feel where your body is, where all the different parts are and how they're working together, requires total concentration. Or maybe concentration isn't the right word, total immersion of your mind into your body, so you don't drift off. And it's even more so if you're doing pushing hands with him, because he's very, very good. He's won a lot of competitions. If your mind drifts off, you end up sprawled on the floor, right, or being whacked.
So you've got to keep on your toes.
Yeah, you need to keep on your toes.
You've got to keep focused. One article that I really liked is a recent article that you wrote about the basics of Tai Chi and movement, and you were likening it to guitar playing. And once you get the basics, you're free to do a lot more stuff, and you enjoy yourself a lot more. So, what are the basics that you like people to get and find that they can enjoy themselves more when they get the basics?
It's a good question. It's very interesting. When I teach a class, let's say it's a class of beginners, I teach lots of different people. Yeah, I teach people who've done martial arts for a long time, people who haven't used their bodies hardly at all for a long time. People who do other kinds of sport or don't do anything. And everything in between. And when you look at everybody, or when I look at everybody, you can see that everybody kind of needs to work on the same thing, right? These basics. And the basics are that first they need to liberate their bodies so that all their joints can move freely, right? And everybody has much more tension in their bodies than is useful. There can't be no tension in the body, otherwise it would be like a puddle of stuff on the floor. But the amount of tension you need to support your body is much less than what most people have. So the first thing people need to do is to learn how to relax and how to move their bodies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's an important part. It's one aspect. The other aspect is that people also need to strengthen their bodies, because usually when people are, in Tai Chi we do almost everything standing up. There are some exercises you can do lying down, but they're just for kind of relaxing, really. Yeah. But to use your body, you need it to be balanced, because we're bipedal, right? We're bipedal. We need to be able to balance and move on these two legs. Okay, and usually people don't really have the kind of structural connection or the strength or just the basic level of support from their legs to hold their bodies up. So we work on relaxing the body, loosening all the joints, and it's like you have to build the body from the ground upwards, like from the feet to the hips, up through the hips and the spine, like that.
So these are fundamental things that they have to get. And once so for example, if they can't relax, they're not going to progress. If they're not going to get some kind of level of that, they have to relax.
Yeah, but it's tricky because the learning process in Tai Chi is a long process. It's progressive, right? So it's not either you can or you can't relax, but it's gradually learning how to relax more. It's gradually learning how to move your body more, or to liberate your body more and loosen things more. It's not either that you can or you can't do it. So I practice a lot, but I'm still finding parts of my body. I think this part doesn't move very well, or this is more tense. How can it be? How can I relax more, or how can I move better? So it takes time, and it's a progressive kind of.
It's always going to be an ongoing thing. Okay, and then another thing I read that I really liked was you described some people as they trained that they're good at learning the choreography of Tai Chi, but they're not good at moving well. That sometimes they've spent a lot of time learning, let's say a form, which could be 80, 100 movements.
Could be, yeah.
And still they're not moving very well. So what does that look like when you see that?
Well, I think it's a common problem, and it's not just me looking at other people. It's also me talking about something that's in my classes and kind of all over the place, really, where people focus on remembering sequences of movements, because that's part of Tai Chi. You learn a form and you practice your form, but learning the sequence takes precedence over how they use their bodies. And really, in Tai Chi, form doesn't matter that much. It's just one training tool. We're mostly interested in how you use your body. So people forgo that to try and remember stuff.
Right.
So I'm always trying to get my students, always saying, no, don't worry about the form too much. You need to practice your basic exercises, do standing, fan song gong, and then your form will really improve.
Right. Okay. That's an important point, isn't it? Because you speak to a lot of people that are thinking about Tai Chi or beginning with Tai Chi. They are normally wrestling with learning a load of moves, and they just can't relax about it. Because they think that they're learning this set of moves and then something's going to happen. So if they could just do the basic things well, they'd be enjoying themselves.
Definitely. And also it's because if you... So one of the things you want to do in Tai Chi, especially when we first start, is to break down the separation of the body. So we don't have the body as separate bits. I'm not thinking, my hand has to go here, then my foot has to go here, and then I do this, and then I do this. It's like we're looking for this whole body movement all the time. And once you start to relax and the joints are able to move freely, you start to feel that your body is rather than being two, 4 limbs, a trunk, 2 feet, 2 hands, you start to feel like it's a whole mass. And so that your basic movement skill goes up a level. Yeah. And then learning form is actually easy. It's easy. It's got nothing to do with Tai Chi, really, learning forms. Right. It's just about how you move. Yeah. Once you kind of start to get a sense of this body cohesion, everything you do improves.
Yeah. That's a nice feeling, eh?
Yeah, brilliant, yeah. It's difficult to convey that, actually, but...
yeah. And how long do you think... I mean, as we know, it's an ongoing process. It doesn't end. But have you noticed a kind of a time period when people start to get a glimpse of that? Of moving their body as an integrated kind of whole?
Not really. And the reason is, it depends greatly from person to person. Yeah. There's one determining factor, whether or not they will or won't be able to get a sense of this cohesive movement, is if they practice on their own. Right. So you need to practice every day. It doesn't have to be for hours and hours and hours. Let's say half an hour a day. Because it's so ingrained for people to perceive their body as all these different separate parts. It's very difficult to get away from that. So you have to train your mind as much as your body to kind of get rid of these separations.
Yeah.
if people practice every day, they can do it quite quickly.
Right. So that is the key point. And that doesn't mean they have to do an hour or 2 hours a day.
No.
But it wouldn't hurt.
Let's say normal people, all they need really to do is to practice for about half an hour a day, just to keep all their joints lubricated and to kind of keep their body moving well and to relax. That's enough.
Right. Okay. So you're known for your kind of clear writing and you kind of demystify things in your writing. So I'm going to give you some terms, and you can translate them for the layman.
I'll try it. Yeah,
okay.
I'll try it.
So you mentioned it a few times. I mean, we're pretty clear on it already, but Fong Song Gong.
Fan Song Gong.
Fan Song Gong.
Fan Song Gong. Fan Song means to relax.
Right.
But Fan Song Gong is like kind of like the skill. So it's like the skill of relaxing. But it's not just like when I lie on the sofa and I watch TV. That's quite relaxing. Yeah. But that's not
what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. That's not that. That's not that useful.
Oh damn!
It's a shame, isn't it? I mean, it is quite useful at the end of a day of like teaching and training, and I'm tired. So Fan Song is like a useful relaxation.
Right.
So it's about learning to find develop the appropriate amount of tension and relaxation in your body. So, like I said before, almost everybody carries much too much tension. Even people who use their bodies a lot, professional sports people. From my Tai Chi perspective, is too much. So Fan Song means to relax and loosen and kind of liberate your body.
Okay. Zhang
Janzhong, standing.
Yeah.
Standing meditation.
Standing meditation.
One of the first basic exercises. So the skill of standing up, you're learning to balance your body while before you even learn any movements, just maintaining a simple standing posture. How can I maintain this posture and keep my body balanced and relaxed and my mind engaged with what I'm doing? And it's surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's standing meditation.
Standing meditation.
With all of those kind of characteristics in it.
Yeah.
Zubu. Zobu.
Oh, it means like footwork.
Footwork.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I teach quite a lot is, as part of the basic exercises, is teaching people how to, when they're moving, when they're stepping, how to keep their balance.
Right.
Yeah. Not just tottering around on like one leg, but how to keep their whole body structure balanced and connected as they're moving.
As they walk.
Which is very tricky because you do it very, very slowly. So any nuances or any discrepancies in your paying attention or level of relaxation or your body structure, you notice immediately. So it's a really useful tool.
Okay. We talked about it a little bit, but it doesn't hurt to have a clear definition. Chanzigong or Chanzijing.
Oh, so
silk reeling.
Silk reeling energy, yeah.
Silk reeling energy.
Yeah.
What on earth is it? In a sentence or two.
It's hard to say. But no, it's not that hard. So usually people describe silk reeling. It's better to say silk reeling movement really than energy, because then that makes it more accessible. But it doesn't sound so strange. So it's this connected movement through the body, and actually the body naturally moves in spirals anyway. It's just we don't really realise it because you don't really pay attention to it. But when you do. When you move, the whole body kind of coordinating and spiraling together. And all Tai Chi movement is this silk reeling movement. And it's called silk reeling because of the way the silkworm produces a thread. He kind of is like gyrating his body as he excretes this silk. And his whole body's moving together. You think of a silkworm, doesn't have any separate parts. He's like a single kind of unit. But he produces this very fine, very strong thread. So that's where
that's the inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay. Tuishou.
Oh, pushing hands.
Pushing hands.
So pushing hands is like basic Tai Chi partner work to begin with, and it's the first step. Once you've learned the basics and you practice the form and you practice for a while, you work with a partner and you are testing each other's balance. Is one thing, but you're learning about timing, how to follow, how to pay attention to what's happening. It's not that complicated, but it's difficult to do well. And in terms of people who are interested in Tai Chi for self-defense or as a martial art, that's the first basic step.
That's the first thing they need to do.
Yeah.
And for people that may be interested in self-defense but don't fancy getting their head punched in immediately.
It's quite useful for that.
Can be a nice way to progress.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Tui Shou, to begin with, especially, should be practiced kind of cooperatively. Yeah? You're not trying to kind of like smash each other in, or you're learning about how your body deals with incoming force. Physically and also psychologically as well. Yeah, how to maintain your structural integrity, your balance, how to gauge timing and response in someone else. And how to stick and follow, and these are all really important things.
Is there an age limit, would you say, for people that can do that?
No.
So anyone can do that. Anyone.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I think those are some very clear definitions that will help people. So we talked a little bit about the martial aspect of Tai Chi. How important is that to you, the martial aspect of Tai Chi?
It's definitely important. Now I'm getting old. I'm getting older. It's probably less important. When I first got into Tai Chi after having done kickboxing and stuff, and I did a few other little bits and pieces as well of other things. It was quite a dominant part of my mind. But now, it's also as I feel like my body, is through my Tai Chi training is much more connected and relaxed, and I can feel that I can look after myself, kind of. So it's not the main focus for me. It definitely has an influence on what I do, but it's not. I don't spend my time thinking I need to be able to look after myself.
Should it be important for other people that are getting into it or not?
Yeah, it can be. It's a useful training. It's a useful training tool to have that in mind, because it gives meaning to what you're trying to do and the type of power that you generate from doing Tai Chi for a long time. It gives you a kind of emphasis on what you're trying to develop.
If someone is coming into Tai Chi and is not in the least bit interested in the martial aspect, should they still learn it or not?
Yeah. They can. It doesn't.
Is it essential?
No, it's not essential. But they might be. It's definitely an appeal to a lot of people. That the fact that Tai Chi has this is a martial art. People like that. If they've got absolutely no interest, they might be better off doing something like Qigong, where you're just doing exercises to improve. There's no martial context really.
Okay. One guy I wanted to ask you a bit about Chen Fa-Ke.
Oh, okay.
Do you know anything about him? So that was Chen Xiaowang's grandfather. From what I've read about Chen Fa-Ke, there's a couple of people from the past that I really like the sound of. I find them inspiring. So what did he do?
God, do you know what? My knowledge of Chen Fa-Ke isn't brilliant, but he did a lot to popularise Chen style Tai Chi, because I think he went to teach in Beijing, so he spent a lot of time teaching there, and he was also meant to be very, very good, especially in terms of martial arts, and he used to take on a lot of challenges and do very well. Yeah, and he was meant to be a really nice guy.
Yeah, and he's an all-round good.
He's an all-round good guy.
So he did a lot to push the Chen style. So that was
because Chen style was just kind of limited to the Chen village, and Yang Luchan went there to study, and then after a number of years he went off to teach Yang style Tai Chi. He changed it to meet his adaptations. So Yang style Tai Chi became quite popular, and Chen style was still quite not very well known really. So Chen Fa-Ke, he spent time in Beijing, working hard to teach and
to promote
all that stuff.
All right, we're going to move on to some issues that might be relevant to people watching or listening. So and get your opinions on it. So why do you think if someone is sitting here thinking about whether they should do Tai Chi, why should someone learn Tai Chi, do you think?
Okay, so there are a lot of reasons why someone would want to learn Tai Chi. Tai Chi is different from how you usually think of exercising. Okay, one of the things we say in Tai Chi is Shen Xing He Yi, which means that really when you're doing something like exercise, you want to train your mind and your body together. Okay, so as well as looking after your body physically, Tai Chi is going to train your mind as well. So they're not really two separate things. There, it's like one whole unit. People need to be able to move their bodies and use their bodies well, and have freedom of movement in all their joints, and have their bodies connected for good health and for everything they do in their lives. And that's what Tai Chi specialises in, liberating people's bodies and teaching people how to calm their minds down so they can relax, reduce stress levels. And that's a big problem now in our current social climate. Is it stress, anxiety, mental health problems, people not being able to use their bodies very well, and all the problems that come from that. It's a big issue, and Tai Chi specialises on sorting out all of those problems as a whole package. It's a little bit difficult to learn, but it's completely worth it.
Right. So it's a very suitable endeavour for the negative aspects of life that we're enduring at the moment.
I talked to Chen about it last time I saw him, and he was saying, the martial arts aspect is one thing. He goes, now what people just need to learn how to calm their minds down. There's so much stimulation, information, that has a very strong impact on your body in a negative way.
Biggest mistakes that you see beginners make?
Not practicing.
They need to practice.
Even if they're not sure, they have to embrace creative uncertainty. Yeah.
Right.
You can't. It's the same as like I used to teach guitar. You have to just try, even if it doesn't sound very good. You have to still practice every day. Doesn't have to be every day, but frequently. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm often surprised in a beginning class, or at the end of a beginning class, which could be Qigong and Tai Chi. Someone comes up to me and says, "I'm not good at this stuff." And I was thinking, how do you know? Like, it's not something that it's just something that you do for a period of time and then you get benefits.
I know, it's a strange, I mean, that happens a lot, yeah. But if you were going to learn a language, and you had one class, you wouldn't say, I can't speak French.
Yeah.
You'd think, I have to learn this language for a number of years so I can become fluent.
Right.
Instead of learning a language, you're learning how to be in your body and use your body well and focus your mind, which is very important.
Yeah. Is Chen style suitable for more advanced aged practitioners?
Yeah, everything can be adapted. So if I was teaching, I teach a lot of people who are of an advanced age, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to adapt the exercises. I don't expect them to do really low stances. I'm not trying to torture them so much physically, but I will adapt the movements so they're working on their balance, on their joint mobility, on being able to breathe properly, and all these things can be adapted. Yeah, you can adapt it.
So that is an important point, isn't it? Because some people can see. I mean, typically young people see the Chen style and think, "Oh, that's cool. I'm going to do that." And older people see Chen style and think, "Oh, that looks daunting.
I'm not sure if I can do that."
Yeah. But all of it can be adjusted.
Hey, in all of my classes, whether I'm teaching young people or old people, everyone has to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to begin with, I'm not getting people to do this like really torturous like low stances or like jumping kicks or fudging. Everyone learns how to find the position of their body, their balance, their posture, their breath. Really basic stuff. Yeah, really basic stuff. If you can learn those basics, that's already you've gone a long way to improving your situation.
Very cool. We kind of addressed it a little bit, but does a beginner need to learn a long set of movements?
They don't need to. Well, they need to learn first like basic exercises, Fan Song Gong, some standing, and then maybe some simple movements, and practice them until they feel like they're comfortable with them. And then they have a really good foundation to learn more complicated movements.
Very cool. Okay, we're on to the bonus round.
Oh, okay, right, I'm ready.
Are you mentally prepared?
Yeah, psychologically.
What's inspiring you at the moment? I'll wait until you finish it.
this whole one. What's inspiring me at the moment?
Yeah.
I find a lot of inspiration, I teach a lot of classes, is seeing people improve is very inspiring. Yeah, because you can tell. I can tell straight away, if people have been practicing a little bit and their body starts to move a bit better, or they're a bit more relaxed, or usually a combination of those things, I can tell immediately. It's brilliant. They feel happier and I feel happier.
Yeah. And if they don't train?
Then they stay the same.
In China,
I have to lean on them more. Yeah, I have to lean on them more and try and torture them until they do.
In China, they have a stick for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not allowed sticks like that. It's a shame.
Did you ever get hit in China?
No, I've always been a really good student. Goody two shoes. Always trying really hard.
Okay. You can have 3 people to dinner, living or dead.
Oh, okay.
Who do you choose?
I think I would choose, right? My parents died a long time ago,
Okay.
so I would choose both of my parents.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's 2.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably choose Chen Wang.
Okay. Are they
It'd make a really weird dinner party.
Yeah. Would your parents like that? Do you think they'd have a good conversation with Chen Wang?
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah. Okay. A documentary that you'd suggest people watch? Doesn't have to be a documentary. Could be a book or a movie.
See, that's very difficult. A book or a movie. I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything, Robin.
Okay.
That's because my mind. I trained my mind to be empty, and there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there now. Yeah?
I've achieved such a high level of Tai Chi that I cannot answer.
Well, I wish it was true, but yeah.
That's fine. We'll move on. Do you have a favourite quote?
Well, I have a favourite
quote
quote
that you like
in terms of Tai Chi.
Sure, whatever. You like.
Which is from Chen Wang, and he said in one of his books, to learn Tai Chi is to educate yourself, and that's it. I read that and I thought that's brilliant. Partly because it's about education, so I'm not trying to just copy someone. I want to learn something, and educate yourself means you're responsible for your own being. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, there is something to anyone that's made any kind of progress in Tai Chi. There is, like you say, it just can't happen unless you do put in the work by yourself. You can't turn up to class 2 or 3 times a week, and you're going to have to be taking control of something.
Yeah, you have to take responsibility for yourself. I mean, whatever you do, whether it's Tai Chi or some other kind of something, you have to take responsibility for the development of your body and your own mind yourself.
And I think that is a particularly empowering thing at the moment, where if you've got a problem at the moment, it's just straight down the doctors kind of thing. You know? Whereas if you're investing in yourself through something like Tai Chi, you're going to be making those visits way fewer times.
Yeah, well, you would hope so. You would hope so, yeah.
One piece of advice for a beginner in Tai Chi. Could be a word or a sentence.
Patience.
Okay. That's it?
Probably just patience. Because, I'm not adverse to technology by any means, but we're used to having things fast and instant gratification. Information. I want to learn something. I look on YouTube. If someone's telling me how to do it, I can find out anything I need to find out quickly and rapidly. But to learn a skill, any kind of skill, it takes time. Yeah, so people have to be patient. They can't expect to learn something quickly.
Patience. Mentioned it earlier, so this is not a complete spontaneous question, but zombie apocalypse?
Zombie apocalypse, I'm ready.
You're ready?
I'm ready. In the shed?
Yeah.
Long arm hedge trimmer, the Tai Chi training with the weapons comes in half, and then the blade at the top to take off the heads.
So that is a good tactic, and that's the first time I've heard that one. So the long hedge trimmer.
Yeah, to remove the heads.
Just going to annihilate their heads.
And then the children upstairs with shotguns shooting zombies in the lift. We got it.
You got the shotguns?
I'm not going to say.
We may or we may not.
Maybe some gun.
Okay, Sam, what an absolute pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you
Good
so
talking
much.
to you.
A real pleasure. Oh gosh, I forgot.
What?
If people wanna jump in on this journey, where do they go? What do they do?
They're going to have to be independent and find that. They can look at my website, which is sussextaichi.co.uk.
sussextaichi.co.uk.
And there's links to my blog and all the stuff's on there.
And your blog is
The Internal Athlete.
which has got a lot of good articles on. A lot of good.
Thanks.
Yeah, so well worth checking that out. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, man.